Hello, everybody. Welcome to the United Stand. We're here today talking about another player leaving Manchester United in Donny van der Beek. Obviously, guys, we know a lot is going on in the world of football that we don't want to talk about at the moment. Mark has put out a video for United Stand this morning. I'm joined by Mark now. You can go and watch that video. As things develop, as it stands at the moment, there's nothing much more to talk about. If things do come to the fore and we can discuss them, we will discuss them on tonight's show later on at 8 o'clock. But Mark, cheers for coming on, mate. Weird old sort of weekend. A lot going on in the world of football right now. But are you enjoying your weekend wherever you are, mate? Anyway, I mean,
yeah, I'll be back for the 8 o'clock show tonight. I've just been in Stratford for the weekend because we had this. I didn't even know about this bloody international weekend. We were talking about it a couple of weeks ago. So I said to the missus, right, got a weekend off. Let's go. So and then you wake up this morning to obviously the very serious allegations and Donny to Everton. We were just talking about, I'm talking about in a few minutes about what Spurs have bought a striker and a midfielder in. I mean, look, it's nice to talk about a distraction when serious things are going on. It's called a counter worry. And yeah, it's nice to be able to talk about the Donny story and Spurs and the fact that, well, I don't know what your thoughts are. I'm happy he's gone to Everton. And obviously, Ornstein and Romano have confirmed he's going to Everton. When I heard about it last night, I'd had a few pints and I was like, yeah, he'll go to Everton. I would have preferred Palace. I feel a bit sorry for Palace because they'd obviously put a lot of work in. I think he would have played more as an 8 at Palace, whereas at Everton, I think he's going to play more of a 10. Even if he goes to Everton and does well as a 10, he's never having Bruno's spot, whereas at Palace as an 8, if he did that well, you might go, well, he can be... I don't know what it means for his future, but I think as a lad, I'm excited to watch him. He deserves to go and play Premier League football.
Yeah, we did discuss it last night. It was me, Joe, Kev and Levin discussed which way we were thinking would suit Donny best. And we looked at the Everton situation, bit of a mess. A lot going on behind the scenes at that club at the moment in terms of power struggle and whatnot. And we thought, you know what? We've seen Schneidlin go there, make a mess of his career, go into Everton. I'm thinking, would Palace, more settled team, would it suit? I'm with you on that. I thought Palace would have been the better option. I did. I just, like you said, I want to see him play games. I want to see him play in the Premier League consistently because he is still our player. And that's the most important thing to take out of all of this. So if the new manager comes in the summer and he's impressed, then I think he's got every chance of coming into the team. But we just don't know. Under Everton, Romano pretty much confirmed everything today. Done deal, confirmed, decision has been made. Here we go, obviously. Donny confirmed in the last few minutes with Frank Lampard. I don't know if that was the key factor in all of this, Mark, the fact that Lampard has come into Everton. Do you reckon that could have been where it got swayed in the end?
It's funny because you do tweets and you get the piss taken out of you, but sometimes they can spin round. I remember when we bought Donny and I said, he reminds me of a Lampard-style player. I think he can play... Lampard could play deep, but he could break the lines and score goals. And I got absolutely rightly ridiculed. But then a couple of years later, Lampard's obviously bought him. Lampard is key to this. I think, again, I do feel sorry for Palace because I think if Everton hadn't sorted their manager out until next week, Donny would be going to Palace. I understand why he's going to Palace as well. I mean, from what I remember, he's got a baby due.
Yes.
You live in Manchester. Everton, you don't need to move house. You can commute that easy enough. Whereas Palace down to London. But I think Bergkamp had been involved, and I think Donny goes out with Bergkamp's daughter. So, I did think he would have gone to Palace, but we've got to move on. I'll still be very excited to see how he does at Everton, and I think Lampard will be an interesting one there. And I suppose the thing is that Everton are richer than Palace as well, so they can probably cover his wages easier. And if he does well there, and look, I hate to say this, we're all talking about I hope he does well. One, he's got to do well. He might be rubbish, and everyone will go, "Oh, that's why he didn't pick for United." But even if he does well, he might end up signing for Everton in the summer. So we might never see a Donny in a Man United shirt again.
This is it. I mean, we actually spoke about it last night with Everton. You mentioned it then. Being very rich, obviously, got very powerful, rich owners. And you reckon this could have been a club forcing Donny to go Everton because, like you said then, they can cover the wages easily. We get the loan fee as well, like Romano's confirmed there. And in the end, it probably looks like Palace were trying to scrape together what they could, trying to negotiate. Everton have come in. There's your money, United. And United have gone, it's only a loan. There you go, Donny. First team Premier League football. And eventually, we said it last night, do you reckon the football side of it and United could take over in this move rather than it be Donny's move, that's got to be put into the question, hasn't it, mate?
I think you're absolutely spot on. I think with football, it's so changeable. I mean, Everton in a different scenario could have been where West Ham are fighting for that fourth spot with us. There's no way we would have let them go to Everton then. They'd push him to Palace. So look, I think from United's point of view, financially, they'll get more money out of Everton. From Donny's point of view, I'd rather he'd gone to Palace, but I've got no problem with him going to Everton. It's just a preference. He's still going to be, for me, the most exciting thing is he's going to play Premier League football and he should be starting games. So I will watch Everton. I don't know about you. I will watch Everton now, and I hope he does really well. And look, Everton, Palace, they're both good moves. It's funny because I've been talking about this for 2 weeks. I kept mentioning Everton, and I had people messaging me last night saying you were spot on. I wasn't spot on. I had no information. It was just logical. Everton tried to get him a year ago. They're in a relegation scrap. They're not a threat to us. They could damage Arsenal and Spurs. He won't play against us. It's a total no-brainer. So I'm happy about it. And I just think that surely now the door's open to United to go and get this midfielder in the next 24 hours. I just don't know whether that's going to happen. I mean, look, whatever you think about the Greenwood situation, and as I said, we've done our announcement, and we'll leave it at that until we get anything else. But that does sort of leave United even more potentially short if that goes the way some people think it will go, and it might
just
not.
About to say that,
because I think 24 hours.
It is, because I'm looking at it now. We discussed off air then the Spurs bringing in midfielder, bringing in a forward.
Yeah.
Everyone's strengthening around us now because Spurs are a threat. I think we all know that they're a threat, even with that poor squad. Conte's got them doing bits and actually improving. You can see it improving. That is a threat to us. It does look like we could possibly still be losing Lingard as well. So a lot of forwards missing. A lot of forwards gone out on loan. Dare I say it, we could be losing another one for matters like we may be discussing later and like we've talked about earlier on. All of a sudden,
what do you think about Usman Dembele? Because I can see people in the chat. I'm not Dembele. He's terror. His hamstrings. No.
I remember doing a show on United Stand, and I absolutely slaughtered the Dembele move. I'm not moving from that. I just think breadstick legs can stay where he is and let him be a problem for Barcelona to deal with. We've got enough going on at this football club at the moment. We don't need another trouble. I'm not saying he's a trouble causer, but we do know he comes with problems, big wages, big demands. He's not gone down well at Barcelona. Do we really need anyone but a dead cert, someone we can rely on coming in? And that's where I think we're struggling in this window, mate, because I just don't think the player's been out there in January. And people will say, look, I can't believe Manchester United haven't gone out and bought anyone. I can. And I said it before the window opened. I said, I don't think we will buy anyone because I just don't see it with an interim manager in who's gone in the summer, added to the fact that that player is not there that we need. Ranić's already said that profile of midfield is not there. And I don't think he's been able to find him in the window as well. For me, I think we're about 2 or 3 injuries short of a real problem going into the running. And that's what I'm concerned about now. The numbers, where I thought before that bench looked really strong, we've now lost Martial, Donny, Ahmad, and possibly Lingard and you-know-who off that bench now. So you can see that bench isn't always looking as strong as it was. I know we didn't utilise it properly, but that's where I'm worried, mate. I'm thinking going to the depth of the season, that could cause a problem now.
Well, what I woke up this morning and people were like, "Oh, Lingard's got to stay now," and I'm like, "Well, look,
no,
forget about the reality is Spurs wanted 2 other players and have ended up with 2 different players because they know that if they want top 4, they've got to get players in, and Bentancur and this other lad from Juventus could flop." But I'd still applaud Spurs for trying to do something, because if it does work, you'll look back at that and go, that's why they got top 4, because their squad's not deep enough. From United's point of view, I just think we've handled the window really badly. That there is no perfect signing anyway, but Kamara is available, Zakaria is going to go to Juventus. These are players that if you add them into our midfield, they might not work, but it's better than nothing's going to work. So something's got to be worth a try. I mean, I had people yesterday saying to me that Schweinsteiger had spoken about when he trained with McTominay and what a good player he was, and I'm like, you get the normal sort of tagged in, yeah, but Goldbridge knows this, and I'm like, look, Schweinsteiger has trained with him. I haven't trained with him, but are you forgetting the most important thing? I'm judging him on his performances this season, and Fred and Matic, and McTominay's played 3 good games out of what 20-something games for me. We're not strong enough in that midfield, and I think these events of this morning obviously are going to have to pan out. But even away from that, Donny, Lingard, Martial, Ahmad, the behaviour of some of the players over the last few weeks in relation to dressing room leaks. Manchester United, it's not a shock to Man United fans that these things are going on, because Manchester United have run that club so weakly for so many years that, we're a bloody mess. We're an absolute mess. And what are we going to do now? Lingard's brother yesterday is tweeting out that his brother's being kept basically as a prisoner. Yeah. And we're now going to go to Lingard and go, we've treated like shit for the last week. Well, we actually need you now because we've got some problems with some players that we didn't expect. And now we need you. I mean, it's, if you run a business like a shambles, it's going to be a shambles. And United, knowing how United run, the events of this morning will be occupying them, and that will be what they're focusing on for the next while. For the first time, will be very surprised if we bring anybody in the next 24 hours. Even though I thought that once Donny had gone, it's logical that we'll go and get one. I think that club, its arse is going like a bunny's nose. It's twitching all over the place, and
it's gone, mate.
They take 6 weeks to buy a player. How long do you think it's going to? Do you think they're going to buy someone in 24 hours when they've got this shitstorm going on? I just don't. No. I don't see it now. For the first time, I'll be very surprised if we bring a midfielder.
It's the matters at hand that serious. It's like you said then, Louis. Lingard's brother there talking about being a prisoner. That word sort of comes to the fore in everything that's going on around the club right now. The fact that they've lost control of these players and they're able to do what they're doing the way that Lingard's happy to. I mean, Lingard tweeted something. I've put something out this morning amidst everything that was going on. I'm pretty certain he did. I'll double check on that. But there's no control. The club is an absolute mess. And I look at that banner that came up. I think it was Samuel Luckhurst who pointed it out and posted it at the Villa game. Rotten. I think it was rotten from top to bottom. Do you know what? It just summarises this club exactly where we're at right now. And today, I just feel like I'm absolutely just taken aback. I've got a sour, horrible taste in my mouth. I was speaking to people before. I've had loads of messages that I'm sure you have as well. It's just... And everyone comes to the same conclusion. It's just said, you know what, with this club, I'm not actually surprised. And things that are happening right now could come out and just show this club up for how bad it's been run and how poorly it's dealt with situations before. Because things that are happening right now, obviously we'll discuss them later if they come to the fore again, but it couldn't have just happened overnight. Things like this don't happen just overnight like that. But the club, like you said, then it's just... Right now, you said twitching, worrying about things. All we want to do is support and get behind the team, see new players come in and actually progress. I just feel sorry for Ralph Rangnick right now with everything that's going on. I mean, what a time to come into Manchester United.
I've never known. I thought it was bad a week ago. I've never known an interim manager have to come in and face the problems he's had, the dressing room unrest. But look, there's so many strands you can go off on how the club have behaved badly and been run badly. And you can go for the serious one, but ultimately we don't know the full story there. But you can certainly focus in on a Donny van der Beek and use that as an example of how badly the club's run. I was thinking this morning when we were out for a walk, I was thinking about Liverpool, and I was like, look, you know what? Liverpool fans used to say it to me with Sir Alex. So look, they're our biggest rival. And they used to go, I wish we had a Sir Alex. I wish we had someone who could build the club up, even though they're haters. And I look at United with Klopp and I think, that is a club that's got a guy who the players respect, the owners respect, the coaches respect, and nobody wants to fuck about to upset him. He runs that club. We used to have someone like that, Sir Alex Ferguson, and we just don't have that now. Ollie was a yes man. The coaches are bloody useless as well. It's all about being mates, and it's all about letting everyone get away with things. It's all about cliques. And if there's no accountability, there's no respect. And Sir Alex Ferguson, look, we have Incy on the show, and he'll tell you stories. And I've heard Giggsy and Lee Sharp talk about it. They'd be at a house party, and suddenly Sir Alex Ferguson would turn at the door, and they'd be jumping out the window and legging it. That's all a big joke, but actually, it shows you what a football club needs. It needs leadership. And when people like Gary Neville said a couple of years ago, the club's rotten from top to bottom, It is rotten because it's got no leadership. It's got no respect. Like we heard this week that there's players that are unhappy about how Lingard's been treated. Well, they're unhappy with their bosses, so there's no respect. And when you've got no respect, people start to disrespect. And, you know, I'm not talking about the serious allegation from this morning, but I'm talking about the treatment of Donny, the treatment of Lingard, the way we act in the transfer market. There has to be accountability and respect in a workplace. And I don't think there's any fear. I don't think there's any respect. And I think that's why we have so many problems, leaks from the dressing room, you know, serious things, you know, not so serious things. The club is run badly. And when you've got people who own the club who are only interested in the bank balance, you need to have respect from top to bottom. And we don't have that. And going back to what you said about Ranić, even if he wanted to be that Klopp or Sir Alex, he wouldn't have the authority and backing from above to go in on. Well, look, Darren Fletcher's his coach, but he's also his boss. Like the club's a mess. It's just a mess.
It's like that. Say if Ranić turned up to one of the players' houses, players would probably get him done for trespassing. That's how much respect there actually is for these for everyone with any authority. I actually don't know who's got the authority at the football club at the moment. I think that's probably the biggest thing, because I can see what Ranić's trying to do, and he's trying to do it with his hands tied behind his back. It's so clear, and I just feel sorry for him. Like, he now knows that he's got to leave this mess and go into a bigger mess, which is upstairs at Manchester United. And I'm like, wow, he's a brave, brave man. But you've got to give him a bit of credit for making this deal happen, because he turned down that first deal. He made this deal that he's got now happen himself, obviously, to move in. That's what he was okay with. But like I said, mate, I can't believe the amount of crap that he's having to deal with. I've never known anything like it, like you said. And it's just, you look at it and you go, wow. I mean, even with the youth players that he can bring through, the end of this season is going to be, I don't know, mate. I honestly don't know how this season's going to end. That's where I'm at with this right now. I don't know which way it's going to go. I can easily see it falling off a cliff, but I'm sort of clinging on to hope that he can bring back a bit of belief and get the fans on the side with maybe integrating a youth player here or there. But right now, I'm a bit concerned. And obviously, with everything going on at the club, Donny's left now. We're short on the bench. The unrest behind the scenes, what's going on, who's in charge. It is a bit of a worry as a fan. And we have to look at it as fans. I mean, I just don't see... I don't know, mate, is the answer to it all. I really don't know where we go from here. All we can do is probably put results on the pitch and hope we can actually have a strong finish to the season. But honestly, the way I'm feeling right now as a fan, and it's just hard. It's hard to take. It's all come to the fore this season, and I think we've known it was coming. We just didn't expect it this way.
I just think it comes down to leadership. And look, you know what? I have been a very strong criticizer of people like McTominay and Maguire and Fred and that. But you know what? I think actually those types of players might be really important if we're going to have a successful end to the season. Because, you know, I use McTominay as an example. Look, I do hear about things off the pitch. I do hear about attitudes and everything like that. And one thing I would say about him is he's a very focused, driven, professional, dedicated footballer who wants to do well for Manchester United, and that's never been in doubt. I don't think he's good enough, but I do think he's got the right attitude. And I think, you know, Fred's probably the same, and Delo and De Gea and Ronaldo. And, you know, they can go one of two ways. They can show us that the club matters, that the reputation matters. And for the next 4 months, they can dig in as a set of players and just, you know, because they're going to get critics, even if they don't deserve it. There's going to be a lot of noise around United. And I just think we've got to focus on that. But the club themselves have not helped the situation. I still think that not bringing a midfielder in is a mistake. We know we're very, very short there. But we do have positives. You know, Donny going to Everton, we'll be able to keep an eye on him. Martial's in Sevilla, we'll be able to keep an eye on him. I know a lot of people watching Ahmad. I'm going to watch him against Celtic on Wednesday. You know, there's talk of Henderson going to Newcastle. Maybe Lingard gets his move. I think these are positives if we can move those players on. And because what we've got to try and do is remove as much negativity from that football club in the next 24 hours as we can. You know, Lingard don't want to be here, let him go. Dean Henderson don't want to be here, let him go. It's not about, oh, fuck Lingard, fuck Henderson. They don't want to be here. They've not been picked. Take them out. Try and get as much of a dressing room together as you can and get through these next few months. And then, I don't know about you, Adam, but we've spoke about it before. In the summer, I think a lot of United fans would be willing, rip it apart, tear it down, and rebuild it. And it will take a few years, but get rid of everything you're hiding within that football club, every negative in that football club, rip it down and start again from top to bottom, from youth to first team. They've got to get respect in that football club. It's got, if Man City can do it and Chelsea can do it and Liverpool can do it, we should be doing it. And we know we're not doing it.
We have to do it. Before we finish up, Mark, obviously one of last night's subjects as well. We can't go without asking you about all Pink Boots Jones, possibility of Jones going.
Smile on the face at last.
That's it, mate. I mean, we said last night, you fondest memory of Phil Jones. We asked everyone on the panel. I think it's only right. You've got a few, mate, to be honest. But if there was one moment for Phil Jones, the move may not go through. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens there. But Phil Jones, I'd said, probably been one positive this season that we've had, that one game that he played. But there's one of the old guard, mate, one who played under Ferguson. I mean, could possibly be going. That's something.
Yeah, I think I hope that game against Wolves is his last game, because there's plenty of bad memories to remember him for. And if he never plays again, that's a nice way to go. I personally think it upsets me that Phil Jones has been through struggles mentally, because that's a serious thing. Because I personally think he should have wore pink boots for the rest of his career as a big up yours to everyone, because it was just banter. It wasn't like, it was banter. And I said it last night, I think on Twitter. I said, he's a meme, but he's our meme. And I'm actually sad that he's going to go, because he's always been part of the furniture, even though mainly part of the physio room. But if he wants to go to Bordeaux and they want him, I'm very, very happy for him to go. My favourite memory of Phil Jones is actually not the pink boots. It was the Sheffield United game where this ball came over, and I was watching it on TV, and this Sheffield United player was away at Bramall Lane. He was about 10 yards offside. I could see Maguire and the fullbacks. I was like, he's 10 yards offside. Why are they playing on? And then the camera panned and Phil Jones was there, stood with his arm up, inventing his own offside trap 20 metres behind our offside trap. It was just like, and even Ollie subbed him off at half time in that game.
I remember I was actually at the game. We couldn't see from where we were sat, actually, but I remember that was one of them Gary Neville games where it's like, just get out with his football club, Gary. Your time is done. That is it. And I do remember it, actually. But I didn't see that until the highlights later, and that was something actually to laugh at. But at least he put a smile on your face, didn't he? That's what he was, Jones.
Yeah, and, the Wolves game is a positive. He should have been picking. I'd have picked him ahead of Maguire in the last game, so that says a lot.
Yeah. That's it. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap up the video there. We're all done. We will be back, obviously, later tonight with the Sunday show. Mark will be back hosting at 8. Cheers for coming on, Mark, anyway, from wherever you are there in Stratford. Oh, Stafford. Stafford. No, Stratford and Avon I am. Oh, shit. I'm still here. Still here. Still there. And now he's gone.
No, we're back at 8 o'clock. We might be back before that. I mean, it's that sort of day. Fucking hell, you just don't know what's going to come next. Hopefully football related, We might be signing Kamara in 2 hours, and then I'm still pissed, if I think that's going to happen. But yeah, we'll be back.
Guys, cheers for coming on. Always give the video a like and subscribe to the United Stand. We're back with everything that breaks over these last couple of days, and obviously the big day tomorrow as well, transfer deadline day. But cheers for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later on today.